I'm Nick Love, one of the founders of SenMax Games. I'm here today to talk to you about Habitats, a family collectible card game, and teach you how to play. To set up the game, first, out of the deck of cards, take 2 habitats from each habitat you're playing with. In this game, we're playing with the Northern Pacific, the African Savanna, the Amazon Rainforest, and the Great Barrier Reef. These habitat cards are being placed in the center, and we're going to call these the community piles. Then, deal 4 cards out to every player that is playing. If a player receives a habitat card to start, put it in the center with the other community piles and redraw another card. These cards are here will be in the draw pile. The player that goes first will be the youngest player. On your turn, you will perform one action. That action could be playing an animal card into an habitat or playing an action card. First, I'm going to talk about animal cards. To play an animal card, you will play an animal card from hand either into a community habitat or into a fellow player opponent's habitat that matches. To play a zebra, you would play it into the African Savanna. There are 2 indicators to help you know where you can play your creatures. They have matching colors, and they also have the same name listed. To claim a habitat, you will place 1 creature into the habitat and then bring it towards your pile, towards yourself. Once you claim a habitat, you are no longer allowed to put creatures from your hand directly into that. If I claim this African Savanna, I cannot take African Savanna creatures and place it into my own African Savanna. Other players may still do so. It is possible to claim a second habitat on a future turn. In order to claim a second habitat on a future turn, it would cost you 2 creatures to play into the habitat. For example, if I wanted to claim an additional habitat, I would have to play 2 creatures that match the habitat into this Amazon Rainforest to claim it as my own. You may also, in the rare event that you have 4 creature cards, you may actually claim a habitat from someone else. To do this, you would play all 4 of your creature cards that match into the opposing player's habitat, and then take that habitat directly from them towards yourself. On your turn, you may choose to use an action card. There are 4 different types of action cards. There are disaster cards, predator cards, renewal cards, park ranger cards. First, I'm going to talk about the disaster cards. Each disaster card is specific to their habitat. For example, the Great Barrier Reef has pollution as its disaster. To play a disaster card, you will play that disaster card on someone's pile. The disaster card causes the top 2 creatures to be discarded, and the pile to be returned to the center, back to the community. After you play the disaster card is also discarded from the game. The next action card to talk about is the renewal card. The renewal card has 2 different actions associated with it. The first action is it can be used to cancel a disaster. For example, if someone tried to play a disaster card against one of your zones, you could choose to use your renewal card to cancel disaster, removing both cards from the game. The second action that can be done with the renewal card is you can cause 2 creatures to migrate. To do this, you would play the renewal card and choose 2 creatures from some habitat and move them to your habitat or to another player's habitat. You must move the top 2 creatures, and you're not allowed to use this to move predators. The next action card is a predator card. The way the predator card works is it is played into a habitat and causes creatures to run away to a new habitat. If you play a predator card into a community pile, all the creatures in the community pile must flee to a player pile. And vice versa, if a predator card is played into a player pile, all the creatures must move to a community pile. If there are no places for the players to flee or creatures to flee to, they are discarded from the game. Additionally, predator cards are not allowed to have other creatures played onto them. So, if you had an Amazon Rainforest creature, you would not be allowed to play it onto a rainforest which has a jaguar. The last action card is the Park Ranger card. The Park Ranger has numerous actions. First 2 actions it can do involve removing a predator or reacting to a predator. It is possible to use the Park Ranger card to eliminate a predator from the game by removing it. So for example, you can play the Park Ranger on a predator and remove the predator from the game. You may also, if a person tries to play a predator into one of your piles, you can play the Park Ranger as a reactionary card to eliminate the predator and remove the predator from the game. The park ranger may also choose to just move a predator around the table. For example, you could play the park ranger and move the jaguar from one Amazon rainforest to another Amazon rainforest, causing these creatures to flee into a pile of your choice. The fourth action of the park ranger is you can just use it to move one creature from any pile to another pile. For example, you could just use the park ranger and cause this Townsend's gazelle to go back to the community. When the park ranger is played, it is discarded from the game. The game ends when the draw pile runs out. Everyone gets one turn after the draw pile runs out. So for example, if this person plays 2 creature cards here and picks up the last 2 cards of the draw pile, every person will get one more turn, including the person who picked up the last draw pile of cards. After the game ends, scoring is based off how many creature points you have inside of your own habitats. This player here, which has a howler monkey for 20 and a 3-toed sloth for 25, would have 45 points in this habitat. The player with the most creature points in their claimed habitats wins the game.